we are gonna stuff my TBR cart. Okay, so one of the things that I have been dying to do, because like everyone else in the world on YouTube, anyway, like everyone else, I am so ready for fall. I love summer. Don't get me wrong, but I am ready for fall. So we are going to put my handy dandy cart, which I've had, I don't know, for a few months, and we're going to put it to use actually like holding books instead of, well, junk. Honestly, I'm in the process of trying to like use things the way they're intended. Also, my fan is running, so if you can hear that, I'm not actually going to apologize for it. I'm just going to explain what it is. So, we are going to stuff my TBR cart with all of my priority fall, autumn reads. I have a whole stack of books in front of me that I want to put in my, like in front of my face, so that when I'm making my TBR videos for the next few months, I can prioritize these ones. So most of them are in physical form. I do have two on my Kindle, and I might have one or two coming in the mail. I'm not fully sure. So, but we're gonna go with what we have today because it's a respectable amount. So let's start with my Kindle reads. So one of the Kindle reads is on Kindle Unlimited. They're both on Kindle Unlimited, but one of them is called Chaos at the Lazy Bones Bookshop, and it's a Halloween bookshop mystery, and it is book 1. So we are going to see, oh boy, I'll read you the synopses. I've actually not read a lot about like any of these books because I want to be surprised. Oh boy, I went to the bottom. How'd I do that? Okay. So, Chaos at the Lazy Bones Bookshop. Why do I keep saying Lozy? Bailey Briggs adores her year-round Halloween-themed town of Elian Hollow, Oregon. But when she takes over her grandfather's beloved bookshop, Lazy Bones Books, she accidentally discovers the town's secret dark side. Normally, spooky season is Bailey Briggs' favorite time of year. Oh, I went too far. Normally, spooky season is Bailey Briggs' favorite time of year and her Halloween-themed small town's time to shine. But between managing Lazy Bones Books, working on her graphic novel In Progress, and running the Spooky Season Literary Festival, Bailey hardly has a moment to enjoy Elian Hollow's spot on seasonal vibes. I got this. I can read. Not to mention, at every turn, she seems to be tripping over the contentious crew of Gone Ghouls, a ghost hunting reality TV show currently filming around town. Bailey tries to stay focused on the Lit Festival, which is supposed to kick off Elian Hollow's annual Halloween fair. Instead, this year's festival begins with a murder. I'm gonna stop there. There's quite a bit more, but that sounds super fun. So that's gonna go on the TBR. The next book that we're going to put on, figuratively, on our TBR cart is going to be Reign of Night by Sarah Rothley. It is A Study in Shadows, book 1. And a little bit about that one is hunters of the Helios Order have a single mission: track vampires and kill them. Lysandra lived her life by this purpose until the day a vampire saved her from certain death. Now she is unwillingly bonded to him, a secret that will see her executed if her order learns the truth. When she finds Asher, she'll cut out his heart for tying her to him, even if it kills her too. I'm struggling to read. But when a young girl is found dead, Lysandra's mission is derailed. In the gaping hole where the girl's heart once was lies a single red rose. Lysandra has seen the signature before, left by the vampire who took her uncle's life. Okay, that also sounds very good. So, I should have seen that coming. Those two are on the cart. Next up we have Don't Hex and Drive. This is Stay a Spell Book 2 by Juliet Cross. If you've seen my mid-year freakout tag, I think that Wolf Gone Mad, I think is what it's called, was on there, which was book 1. So this one, I believe these are all interconnected standalones. So I'm going to go ahead. They're about 3 sisters. So I'm going to read the back of this too. One taste of her is all it takes. He's playing for keeps. Isadora Savoy is not a people person. Content to remain in the background of the Savoy sister shenanigans, she spends most of her time in the greenhouse or at the local animal shelter, using her conduit powers of growth and healing. But when neighborhood girls start disappearing, she's reluctantly roped into the mystery, partnered with a flashy, flirty vampire to find them before it's too late. Devrish Kumar has seen and done it all. 300 years roaming the earth as a Stigorn, a legendary vampire warrior who operates in the shadows, has its perk. But ennui has set in. Ennui? That is, until he has a run-in, literally, with an intriguing witch while on a new assignment in New Orleans. Fortunately for him, she's been recruited by the Lord of Vampires to assist him on the case. Between a Bollywood marathon, supernatural dating app, secret packages, and sexy driving instruction, Isadora is in over her head. And Devraj, after just one taste, he's playing for keeps. I loved Wolf Gone Wild, is what it was called. Wolf Gone Wild. I loved it. I thought it was super surprising, and I loved Juliet Cross's writing, so super excited to get back into this one. This was a more recent find, and I don't really know much about it, but that it was highly, had high ratings. So this is called The House Witch by Delamak? You tell me. Happy to learn how to say this name. This says a heartwarming and humorous blend of fantasy, romance, and mystery featuring a witch with domestic powers and the royal household he serves dinner. When Finley Ashwan joins the staff of the King and Queen of Daxaria, he's an enigma. No one knows where he comes from or how he came to be where he is, which suits Finn just fine. He's satisfied simply serving as the royal cook, keeping nosy passerby out of his kitchen and concocting some truly uncanny meals. But Finn's secret identity doesn't stay hidden for long. After all, it's not every day. Oh, it's a fly. I thought it was a spider. It's not every day a house witch and his kitten familiar Kraken take to meddling in imperial affairs. As his powers are gradually discovered by the court, Finn finds himself involved in a slew of intrigues, going head-to-head with the knights, with less than chivalrous intentions, helping to protect the pregnant queen, fending off the ire of the royal mage, and uncovering a spy in the castle. And that's only the beginning, because Finn's past is catching up with him, just as his love life is getting complicated. Filled with fascinating characters, courtly intrigue, political machinations, delicious cuisines, cuddly companions, magical hijinks, and will they, won't they romance. The House Witch is the first in a captivating new series guaranteed to satisfy the tastes of any reader. It's kind of a big one. It's almost 500 pages. Anyway, I thought that sounded really cute. And it's not every day you get a male witch as the male character, or as the main character. So here we go. This next one was almost completely a impulse buy based on the cover, because I've seen that this is being republished possibly, and this cover is no longer going to be the cover. So this is Grimstone by Sophie Lark. I know nothing about it. Remy Hayes is beginning to think she's cursed. Her fiance cheated on her. Her brother Jude is a major pain in her ass, and the moldering mansion she inherited from her uncle might just be haunted. Flipping Blackleaf Manor already feels impossible even before Remy gets blackmailed by Dane Covett, the dangerously hot doctor next door, and Grimstone's most eligible bachelor, if you can ignore the fact that everyone in town thinks he murdered his wife. Remy doesn't want to believe it, especially after Dane sews up a gash in her thigh and steals a kiss in payment, a kiss that makes it hard to walk for reasons that have nothing to do with an injured leg. But as the renovation takes a strange and violent turn, Remy must decide if Dane is the one haunting her nights or if he's trying to protect her from something much worse. I do have to say, There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. I haven't read There Is No Devil, but There Are No Saints proved that Sophie Lark can write incredibly dark, morally gray characters very well. So it is possible that this guy is a bad guy. So this one is also a second in a series, The Ghost Smith by Nikki Powell Preto. I just recently finished The Bonesmith, which had been ashamedly on my TBR for like a year. So this just came out. I just got it in the mail on release day. And I am not going to read the synopsis of this because it definitely contains some spoilers from The Bonesmith. So just know this is a fantasy. Oh, it's like a fantasy, like mystery, wrapped into one. Our main character, Ren, has been betrayed, basically, and is trying to figure out, with the help of a rival, try not to say too much, trying to figure out with the help of a rival what has gone wrong and how to fix it. So it's kind of quest-based, and yeah, she finds out some stuff, and this, I'm assuming, picks up where Bonesmith left off. So this is for sure going on my priority autumn reads. This one it was a total impulse buy, and I am in love with pumpkin spice. So I had to get the Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. It says, it's the season to fall in love. When Jeannie's aunt gifts her the beloved Pumpkin Spice Cafe in the small town of Dream Harbor, Jeannie jumps at the chance for a fresh start away from her very dull desk job. Logan is a local farmer who avoids Dream Harbor's gossip at all costs, but Jeannie's arrival disrupts Logan's routine, and he wants nothing to do with the irritatingly upbeat new girl, except that he finds himself inexplicably drawn to her. Will Jeannie's happy-go-lucky attitude win over the grumpy but gorgeous Logan, or has this city girl found the one person in town who won't fall for her charm or her pumpkin spice lattes? Cute. Can't wait. This book is, I have been wanting to read this book based on the movie adaptation that I watched, I think last October. It is, of course, Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I have not had the best experiences with Alice Hoffman books. I find her writing to be a little too literary. Like, I don't know, if you understand, you understand. But I do know that I super enjoyed the movie adaptation, and so I'm curious if I will enjoy the book, even though I've not traditionally enjoyed Alice Hoffman's writing. So, if you don't know what Practical Magic is, the Owen sisters confront the challenges of life and love in this bewitching novel from best-selling author Alice Hoffman. For more than 200 years, the Owens women have been blamed for everything that has gone wrong in their Massachusetts town. Jillian and Sally have endured that fate as well. As children, the sisters were forever outsiders, taunted, talked about, pointed at. Their elderly aunts almost seemed to encourage the whispers of witchery with their musty house and their exotic concoctions and their crowd of black cats. But all Jillian and Sally wanted was to escape. One will do so by marrying, the other by running away. But the bonds they share will bring them back, almost as if by magic. We'll see. This one could seriously go either way for me. We have another second book in a, I don't know if this one's a series or a duology, but this is Sunbringer, the second to Godkiller by Hannah Kaner. So I don't know. Yeah, I can't tell you, I can't read the back of this. But I will tell you that Godkiller was an amazing book. It was so good. If high 4 stars, if not 5 for me. I don't fully remember what I gave it, but it was very, very good. And I am super stoked to get this one on the priority TBR. This book will be the first I've ever read from this author, but I am but I hear about this author all the time. So I'm going to give it a try this fall. I'm going to give it a try, and that is Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I will say, people who love Riley Sager, I've not heard the best from them about this book. I'm hearing that's not their favorite Riley Sager book, but since I have literally no bar to judge it against, I get to judge this one all on its own merit. So, what is this about? In the latest jaw-dropping thriller from the bestseller author Riley Sager, a man must contend with the long-ago disappearance of his childhood best friend and the dark secrets lurking just beyond the safe confines of his picture-perfect neighborhood. I'm thirsty. The vent was closed. Okay. The worst thing to ever happen to Hemlock Circle occurred in Ethan Marsh's backyard. One July night, 10-year-old Ethan and his best friend and neighbor, Billy, fell asleep in a tent set up in a manicured lawn in a quiet, quaint New Jersey cul-de-sac. In the morning, Ethan woke up alone. During the night, someone had sliced the tent open with a knife and taken... What? Nope, you'll wait. During the night, someone had sliced the tent open with a knife and taken Billy. He was never seen again. 30 years later, Ethan has reluctantly returned to his childhood home. Plagued by bad dreams and insomnia, he begins to notice strange things happening in the middle of the night. Someone seems to be roaming the cul-de-sac at odd hours, and signs of Billy's presence keep appearing in Ethan's backyard. Is someone playing a cruel prank? Or has Billy, long thought to be dead, somehow returned to Hemlock Circle? That sounds creepy. And pretty good. So, on the TBR it goes. This is also a new to me author. I've never read anything by T. Kingfisher, but Nettle and Bone just kind of screamed fall and autumn to me. This isn't the kind of fairy tale where the princess marries a prince. It's the one where she kills him. Mara, a shy, covenant-raised third-born daughter, is relieved not to be married off for the sake of her parents' throne. But her older sister wasn't so fortunate, and her royal husband is as abusive as he is powerful. From the safety of the convent, Mara wonders who will come to her sister's rescue. After years of watching their families and kingdoms pretend all is well, Mara realizes if any hero is coming, it will have to be Mara herself. If Mara can complete 3 impossible tasks, a witch will grant her the tools she needs. But as is the way in stories of princes and the impossible, these tasks are only the beginning of Mara's strange and enchanting journey to save her sister and topple a throne. That sounds great. Also, did you guys see my new cup? We have I don't know, do you have a Human Bean where you live? It's a coffee shop. This is my little pumpkin one. I had to get it. I love it. This next one is a YA fantasy, I believe, and it is The Whispering Dark. And this cover just screams spooky season. I really have no idea what it's about. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see like the skull hand? I really have no idea what it's about. So let's read. Delaney always talked to the dark. She never expected it to talk back. Delaney is tired of being seen as fragile just because she's deaf. So when she's accepted into a prestigious program that trains students to slip between parallel worlds, she's excited for the chance to prove herself. But her semester gets off to a rocky start as she faces professors who won't accommodate her disability and a pretentious upperclassman fascinated by Delaney's unusual talents. Colton died when he was 9 years old. He woke several weeks later at the feet of a green-eyed little girl. Now, 12 years later, Delaney has stumbled back into his orbit, but Colton's been ordered to keep away from the new girl and the voices she hears calling to her from the shadows. Delaney wants to keep her distance from Colton. She seems to be the only person on campus who finds him more arrogant than charming. Yet after a student turns up dead, she and Colton are forced to form a tenuous alliance. But Delaney and Colton discover the cost of opening the doors between worlds when they find themselves up against something old and nameless, an enemy they need to destroy before it tears them and their forbidden partnership apart. Okay. The next book that we have on here is also a YA fantasy, and it is Grey Mist Fair by Francesca Zappia. I know nothing about this author, and I know very little about this book. So, 2 roads lead into a dark forest. They meet at Grey Mist Fair, the village hidden in the trees, a place kept alive by the families who never leave. The villagers of Grey Mist Fair know that the woods are a dangerous and magical place, and they avoid stepping off the path at all costs. One cold day, Grey Mist Fair's young tailor, Hike, sets out on the road in search of the red berries she needs to dye her fabrics. But what she finds will lead her to the heart of the forest and the darkness that dwells there. It's Heikes. Well, E. Hike's mother, when she was alive, had warned her to stay on the road, for there are creatures in the woods that will steal you away and eat you up. That deep in the woods, you might find the answers too. I also thought this was a perfectly appropriate spooky season book. Here we go. The last YA fantasy book that we have is called After the Forest by Kel Woods. And honestly, this was a total cover purchase. So it says, ginger, honey, cinnamon flower, a drop of blood to bind its power. 20 years after the witch in the gingerbread house, Greta and Hans are struggling to get by. Their mother and stepmother are long dead. Hans is deeply in debt from gambling, and the countryside lies in ruin. Its people starving in the aftermath of a brutal war. Greta has a secret, though. The witch's grimoire, hidden away and whispering in Greta's ear for the past 2 decades, and the recipe inside that makes the best gingerbread you've ever tasted. As long as she can bake, Greta can keep her small family afloat. But in a village full of superstition, Greta and her mysteriously addictive gingerbread, not to mention the rumors about her childhood misadventures, are a source of gossip and suspicion. And now, dark magic is returning to the woods, and Greta's magic she is still trying to understand, may be the only thing that can save her, if it doesn't kill her first. So it says, After the Forest is a dark, enchanting fantasy debut from Kell Woods that explores the repercussions of a childhood filled with magic and a young woman contending with the truth of happily ever after. Sounds so good. Also, Hansel and Gretel freaked me out when I was young. Like, severely freaked me out. Is it gonna fit? There we go. Okay, this next one is going to be, it's going to take me pressing through some stuff to get to it. So this is the second after Ninth House. So I don't know if I will read the synopsis to this just in case you haven't read this, and I don't want to spoil you, but we continue on following, what's her name? Alex. Yes. Following Alex in the mission set forth in Ninth House. So I have heard from different people on YouTube that this is not as graphic as Ninth House. So there's that. This one, I also was so intrigued by the cover, but it is The Revenant Games by Margie Fuston. And the back says, humans are a vampire's prey. They aren't supposed to enjoy getting caught. I've read this before on my channel in a book haul, I think. Blood is survival for 17-year-old Bly, who lives in the poverty-stricken human villages caught between enemy vampire and witch kingdoms. Most of the time, vampires and witches live in an uneasy truce, buying human blood for their food and spells. But for 2 weeks a year, the truce dissolves and they hold the Revenant Games. Any human can play in the games for either the witches or the vampires. The witches will raise one person from the dead for whoever captures the highest ranking vampire. The vampires offer immortality to whoever captures the most powerful witch. For most humans, the games are a ticket out of poverty. For Bly, it's a chance to get back her dead sister Elise and save her dying best friend Emerson. Together, she and Emerson forge a dangerous plan to play both sides and win both prizes, resurrection for Elise and immortality for Emerson. But when the vampire... Excuse me. But when the vampire they capture stirs a passion in Bly that she hasn't felt in a long time, she'll have to make a choice, her sister or the boy who's shown her there's more to life than just survival. I love a good games book. We'll see. A Whisper in the Walls by Scott Rentgen. Rentgen? I can't really tell. I always say it wrong. Rentgen? Scott Rentgen? Anyway. This is, I can't read this either because it is also the second in a, I don't know, again, if it's a duology or a series, but this follows A Door in the Dark, which is dark academia, and there's a plot with a group of students that goes awry, and our main character, Ren, that's right, our main character, Ren, is trying to figure out how things went awry and if she caused it. So I'm not gonna read the back of it. I'm not going to read the synopsis, but just know that I really super enjoyed A Door in the Dark, and I have been waiting for A Whisper in the Walls for almost a whole year. So there you go. 2 books on this TBR by this author. The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. I have read 4 Leigh Bardugo books now. So I've read all of Shadow and Bone and Hellbent, and I don't know how I feel about her as an author. The Familiar. Fate can be changed, curses can be broken. In a shabby house on a shabby street in the new capital of Madrid, Luzia Cortado uses scraps of magic to get through her days of endless toil as a scullion. But when her scheming mistress discovers that the lump of a servant cowering in the kitchen is actually hiding a talent for little miracles, she demands Luzia use those gifts to better the family's social position. What begins as a simple amusement for the nobility takes a perilous turn when Luzia garners the notice of Antonio Perez, the disgraced secretary of Spain's king. Still reeling from the defeat of his armada, the king is desperate for any advantage in the war against England's heretic queen, and Perez will stop at nothing to regain the king's favor. Determined to seize this one chance to better her fortunes, Luzia plunges into a world of seers and alchemists, holy men and hucksters, where the lines between magic, science, and fraud are never certain. But as her notoriety grows, so does the danger that her Jewish blood will doom her to the Inquisition's wrath. She will have to use every bit of her wit and will to survive, even if that means enlisting the help of Julian Santiago, an embittered immortal familiar whose own secrets can prove deadly for them both. Beautiful end papers. Okay, well, we're gonna try it. I am super late to the game on this one, but it is The Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. So you probably have heard this synopsis before, and I know that I've read it before, but we'll do it again. Opal is a lot of things: orphan, high school dropout, full-time cynic, and part-time cashier. But above all, she's determined to find a better life for her younger brother, Jasper. One that gets them out of Eden, Kentucky, a town remarkable for only 2 things: bad luck and E. Sterling, the reclusive 19th century author of The Underland, who disappeared over 100 years ago. All she left behind were dark rumors and her home. Everyone agrees that it's best to ignore the uncanny mansion and its misanthropic heir, Arthur. Well, almost everyone anyway. I should be scared, but in the dream, I don't hesitate. It does go on, but that's all I'm going to read. So, I've heard mixed reviews about this one. Super happy to try it. Lastly, this is the last of our books for our fall TBR. We have A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faizal. I love saying that name, Hafsa Faizal. This one, honestly, the cover is so beautiful. I know everybody says that, but it really is. Why save the world when you can have tea? On the streets of White Roaring, Arthi Casimir is a criminal mastermind and collector of secrets. Her prestigious tea room transforms into an illegal bloodhouse by night, catering to the vampires feared by society. But when her establishment is threatened, Arthi is forced to strike an unlikely deal with an alluring adversary to save it, and she can't do the job alone. Calling on some of the city's most skilled outcasts, Arthi hatches a plan to infiltrate the sinister, glittering vampire society known as the Aetherium. But not everyone in her ragtag crew is on her side, and as the truth behind the heist unfolds, Arthi finds herself in the midst of a conspiracy that will threaten the world as she knows it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, that is our TBR cart for the fall season. Okay, it's not really editing Jess here, it's just continuation Jess here. Okay, so I want to do a really quick amendment to stuffing my TBR cart, because I had mentioned that I thought some more books were coming in the mail, and in fact they were. So the books going on my autumn TBR cart from that kind of mini book haul is going to be The Dark Fable by Catherine Harbour. The ones that I'm adding, I believe, are all YA fantasy. Come along for the ride if you dare. Evie Wilder is an orphan who has gone through most of her life unnoticed until she's caught up in a dramatic heist and captures the attention of the Dark Fable. They have chosen her for a reason. She can turn invisible. This skill would make Evie a treasured asset to the legendary group of thieves known for spiriting away obscure and occult artifacts. Evie cannot resist the group's allure and is eager to join the newfound family, but she discovers there are more skeletons in the Dark Fable's past than she could have ever imagined, and these secrets might be the answer to her own tragic past. No one is who they seem to be, and the price of uncovering the Dark Fable's cryptic history just might be fatal. So I thought that sounded really good. Is House of Dragon by Jessica Clues. Win at all costs. 5 houses will hear the call to compete for the dragon throne. A liar, a soldier, a servant, a thief, and a murderer will answer it. Who will win? The emperor is dead, and so the 5 houses of Etrusia must attend the calling, where one of their own will be selected to fight for the throne. In this proud dragon empire, the oldest child of each house is always called the Golden Child, the one who has spent a lifetime preparing to compete in the glorious trial. But this year is different. This year, these 5 outcasts will be pitted against one another. The liar, Amelia must hide her terrifying powers or be put to death. The soldier, Lucian is a warrior who has sworn never to lift a sword again. The servant, Vesper, is a dragon trainer. Her skills alone will keep her in the game. The thief, Ajax knows that nothing will be handed to him. He must take what he wants. The murderer, Hyperia was born to rule. Nothing and no one will keep her from the throne. Let the battle begin. So, I thought both of those sounded really, kind of that fantasy fall feeling. So those are the last 2 going on my autumn TBR cart. That feels good. That feels really good to have like a plan going into fall, what I'd like to prioritize, and what would be really cool to be able to read. And knowing that most of these are physical books that I own that I can read and have my husband not be like, read one before you buy one. What does he know? Anyway, yeah. Anyway, have a great one.